The worst rare STDs in 17 minutes by the evaluator. I don't know what we are evaluating, but this is gonna be bad. It's freaky, that's why I'm going to watch it, but it's going to be bad. We all know it's going to be bad. We know. There's no denial. We know. Let's just see what is going on. Let's go.
Donovanosis.
Donovanosis. You already look disgusting.
Just imagine you are on this dreamy vacation in a tropical paradise with the sun, sand, and sizzling romance.
I just realized I am probably safe from most STDs. Right? Because they're sexually transmitted, so I'm safe from most. The positives of being maidenless.
You meet someone, sparks fly, and you're tangled in the sheets before you know it. Fast forward a few weeks and you notice something that looks like a tiny pimple down there. You'll probably think it's an ingrown hair trying to be naughty, but you don't realize that that little red bump is about to turn into a flesh-eating horror show.
Ugh. Ugh.
And this STD called Donovanosis, granuloma inguinale, doesn't just infect you, it practically tries to devour you.
Huh? Huh? It will grow on my, you know? And then start to attack me? That's violent. Most. Yeah, most. I don't know, maybe there might be diseases that are, well, then they aren't sexually transmitted, right? So technically all of them. Run but high is crazy. There are people who probably use this list as a grocery list. Probably. You know, gotta catch them all.
Caused by a bacterium called Klebsiella granulomatis, this nightmare of an infection literally eats your flesh, starting with your private parts and slowly...
Who? How do you even get this? Like, obviously through smashing, but how do you get this bacteria?
Spreading outward. The sores that are medically called beefy red ulcers would appear like bright red open sores and would look raw and inflamed as if your skin is trying to escape your body. Instead of healing, they'll spread like flesh-eating vampires, growing and devouring any surrounding tissue it makes contact with. The worst part is, they are very, very itchy. But anytime you touch or scratch an...
Well, that makes sense. Otherwise, you couldn't really spread it. Gotta catch them all, get out of here, dying. Yeah, it's what it is, you know? It is what it is.
Infected area and then touch somewhere else, you've just helped this vampire set up camp in a new location. It can spread to your thighs, stomach, and even your face. Your face, my friend. They are like the ultimate gift that keeps on giving. If left untreated, the ulcers can completely destroy genital tissue, leaving permanent scars, disfigurement,
I'm triple. If I get a wife, I'm triple testing her on everything. I'll just do it.
and in severe cases, missing body parts.
The entire arm or entire leg. Maybe even internal organs?
That's right. Donovanosis doesn't just want to infect you, it wants to redesign you. Plus, as the ulcers grow, they start hitting blood vessels, and if they reach a major artery, you could start bleeding uncontrollably, which is about as fun as it sounds. It can also mimic other STDs, or even cancer. Some doctors have actually...
What? Go back. Did not understand that.
It can also mimic other STDs, or even cancer.
What do you have to do to even get this bacteria? What do you have to do? What is the origin of that? What do you have to do?
Some doctors have actually sometimes mistaken donovanosis for syphilis, herpes, or even genital cancer, meaning it often goes misdiagnosed while it continues to feast. Thankfully, if caught early, donovanosis can be killed off with antibiotics. Molluscum contagiosum. On the
Molluscum. Why is the word in there?
STI danger scale, Molluscum contagiosum, which we'll just call MC because who has the time for all those syllables, is not the grim reaper of infections, but more like that super annoying neighbor who keeps parking in your spot.
Super annoying neighbor that keeps parking in my spot. Thankfully, these will never park in my spot.
A major inconvenience that won't go away easily. But first, what is it actually? Well, you see, MC are these little firm dome-shaped bumps with a dimple in the center that would appear like rashes in your nether regions after infection, caused by a pox virus and not the one that causes smallpox or chickenpox. This is a much sneakier little virus that sets up camp in your skin and throws a tiny, bumpy house party you never RSVP'd to. This STI spreads through direct skin contact, including sexual activity, but here's the kicker, it can also spread just by touching contaminated objects like towels, razors, or clothing.
Would that also fall into the category of hands in this case? Well, like I said, most I can avoid. Not all of them.
That means if your gym towel has been sleeping around, you might end up with bumps in places you never expected. However, the good news is that it's not deadly and usually doesn't cause pain. And it often clears up on its own if you're patient enough to wait a year or so. But
a year? A year. A year. A year. Yeah, sure.
But then the bad news is it spreads like wildfire, and scratching or touching the bumps can make them multiply. Doctors might have to burn, freeze, or scrape them off, so if you can't wait for your body...
Oh, I mean, scrape them off sounds terrible. Freeze them is probably alright. Burn them sounds also terrible.
To naturally kick the virus out, your options include liquid nitrogen, lasers, or a scalpel. The worst part about this little guy is that it doesn't discriminate against anyone, so kids, adults, gym goers, and unlucky Tinder users alike. But honestly, it is mostly passed along simply, of course. So while MC won't completely ruin your life, it'll sure make it very stressful.
Yeah, Minecraft is very stressful. Minecraft is very stressful.
HTLV1. Imagine you're sitting at a table in a dimly lit, smoke-filled room. Across from you is HIV, the infamous godfather of viral crime, the one who gets all the attention. But next to him, sipping an espresso and smirking, is HTLV1, the silent, yet just as dangerous underboss. Everybody fears me, but my buddy here has been running his own little empire in the shadows for decades, and no one even talks.
Their own little empire. Can't get STDs if you're single for the rest of your life. True, true, true. I guess being single and dying alone has its merits. It has its positive sides. Though some of these are apparently even transmittable through, like, touching contaminated objects, so you might be cooked regardless.
Talks about him.
You see, I don't just attack the immune system like my loudmouth cousin here. No, I take my time. I move slowly. I don't cause problems right away. I let people forget I exist. And then, bam! I hit them with cancer or a nasty neurological disease.
Huh? Straight up? So the cancer STD? That's good. Interesting.
These decades later.
Basically, HTLV1, or human T lymphotropic virus type.
Years later. Years! Years! Diabolical.
One is a retrovirus, and this means, like HIV, it hijacks your immune cells and permanently inserts itself into your DNA. It's like a virus that moves into your body, redecorates your genetic code, and refuses to leave, even if you threaten to call the police. The scariest part about this guy is that unlike most STDs that show themselves, you don't even know you have it. And while it just quietly sits there, lurking like a—
Everyone has it. It could be me. It could be you. It could be everyone.
a horror movie villain hiding behind the shower curtain, it reprograms your T cells, turning them into cancerous little monsters. This inevitably leads to adult T-cell leukemia or lymphoma, a rare but deadly blood cancer. It is so aggressive because your white blood cells go full Breaking Bad and start cooking up a cancerous empire in your body. And once ATLL shows up, it's game over, as most people don't survive longer than a year. Now, if cancer wasn't bad enough, HTLV1 also has a neurological hitman up its sleeve called HAM-TSP. This condition slowly attacks your spinal cord, causing muscle weakness.
These fuckers, this one really tries to get rid of you but this one is playing the long game.
Stiff, spastic legs, like walking through wet cement, chronic pain, and bladder issues. It doesn't happen to everyone with HTLV1, but when it does, it never gets better. No cure, no reversing it, just a slow, cruel breakdown of the nervous system. The worst part is that most doctors aren't even testing for it, so many infected people go their entire lives without knowing they have it until it's too late. Mycoplasma genitalium.
Mycoplasma. Why does it look disgusting?
You've heard of chlamydia, gonorrhea, maybe even syphilis if you're into history lessons. Well, Mycoplasma genitalium is the lesser-known cousin that quietly hangs out in the shadows and wrecks your reproductive system without making a big scene. At first. Doctors discovered it in the 1980s, which explains why nobody remembers it, because, believe me, the 80s were honestly the wild, wild west. But even after all these years, many people, and even some doctors, still don't know what to do with it. Now, this guy is so deadly because it's sneaky as hell, so expect no symptoms, no red flags, just pure microbial mischief. But then, when the symptoms start to show, they're painful, vague, and super annoying. Think burning while peeing, pelvic pain, or
Disgusting! Disgusting!
weird discharge. The worst part is that M. genitalium doesn't respond well to antibiotics. In fact, it's now classified as a superbug, meaning it's getting harder and harder to kill. And if left untreated, it can cause pelvic inflammatory disease, PID, in women, which can lead to infertility, and cause urethritis in men, which is a fancy way of saying, ouch, why does it burn when I pee? This guy is also linked to miscarriages, preterm births, and other serious reproductive complications. Yep, nothing but bad news. To make matters worse, condoms help but don't guarantee full protection, because
What are they saying? Is bro eating through the condom? What the fuck?
genitalium is so tiny, literally one of the smallest known bacteria, that it can still slip through the cracks. That's like finding out your burglar alarm won't stop a thief if they're really determined. Well, you might as well just become monks then. Lymphogranuloma venereum, LGV. LGV.
Why does that sounds like LGV? That sounds like I don't know, some TV.
He is basically chlamydia's bigger, meaner, and way more dramatic cousin. It's caused by certain strains of Chlamydia trachomatis, but unlike regular old chlamydia, which is still bad but at least doesn't go full war mode, LGV doesn't just infect your genitals. No, no, no. This thing targets your lymph nodes. You know, those little bean-shaped warriors that are supposed to protect your body from infections. Instead, LGV would hijack them like a medieval invader setting up camp in your groin. At first, LGV is all about stealth, so you might get a tiny painless ulcer or blister on your genitals, rectum, or mouth, depending on where the action happened. And because it's painless, most people don't even notice it. But then, after about 2 to 6 weeks, things start getting real. Your lymph nodes, which should be chilling under your skin, suddenly swell up like they've...
God. Good God. And people smash around like it's not, like there's no consequences to it. Immunity down the drain, gone, annihilation, delete, deletion.
Been stung by 1,000 bees. And for the people with a penis, the lymph nodes in the groin, aka the inguinal nodes, will swell up and can even burst open into oozing sores. I mean, why stop at just pain when you can add horror movie special effects? Then, if you have a vagina and get infected, the infection would attack your insides and cause swelling, inflammation, and even rectal scarring. This thing would basically make walking, sitting, or just existing a living nightmare. And if left untreated, because some people still believe, it'll go away on its own, well, in LGV's case, it gets even worse. It'll overwhelm your lymphatic system and would start...
How can it get worse? Like, these things want you to die. What do you even do against this?
Creating fistulas, strictures, and chronic swelling that can lead to permanent damage to your genitals and rectum, extreme pain and discomfort.
It's tearing up your ass. Nice.
And a condition called elephantiasis, where parts of your body swell up to ridiculous proportions. Fortunately, LGV is curable. All you need to do is take notice in time and then chug down antibiotics, usually doxycycline, for 21 days. And then maybe try to practice safe, because prevention is always easier than dealing with a medieval-style lymph node invasion. Pinta. If syphilis is the evil villain of the treponema bacteria family, then Pinta is its weird cousin who skipped the whole causing internal organ damage phase and went straight to, let's make your skin
permanent. Yeah. It's like watching an episode of House. Okay, so internal organ damage and skin.
Look like a patchwork quilt mode. Basically, Pinta is an ancient bacterial infection caused by Treponema keratium, a very close relative of syphilis, but instead of messing with your nervous system and turning your brain to Swiss cheese, it takes a more artistic approach by attacking your skin and leaving you covered in blue, red, white, and brown spots, like a human tie-dye shirt that went horribly wrong. This bacterial nightmare is mainly found in rural parts of Central and South America, and while it's mostly spread through...
Thankfully, once again, I'm German.
Skin-to-skin contact, let's be real. If there's skin-to-skin action happening, there's always a chance of some horizontal mumbo transmissions, too. At first, you'll get a small red, scaly bump on your skin, usually on your arms, legs, face, or wherever the bacteria first made contact, and in a few weeks' time, that innocent-looking bump would spread like melted cheese across your body. Just like that, you'll be rocking an unnatural shade of red, blue, or purple. I mean, if you've ever wanted to cosplay as a chameleon...
Hey, at least your life gets very colorful. However, walking around with looking purple? I don't know about that one.
Or a human smurf, then Pinta's got you covered. If left untreated and your final stage kicks in, your skin would completely fade to white patches known as depigmentation. It'll kind of look like vitiligo, but instead...
So I'm getting shiny. So I could turn into a shiny? I guess so. Purple melted cheese. True.
Instead of looking cool and unique, your skin just looks blotchy and permanently damaged. By now, you're officially a walking patchwork quilt, and not the cute kind your grandma made. Luckily, Pinta is curable with a simple dose of penicillin. That's right, one shot of antibiotics and poof, the bacteria packs its bags and leaves your body. The only problem is the skin damage might be permanent. So if you wait too long,
Ah, well, cooked. We're getting shiny humans tonight, oh no.
you'll be stuck looking like a weird unfinished art project forever. Cancroid. Cancroid is the bad roommate of STDs that'll move in, wreck everything, and leave behind a mess so nasty that even seasoned doctors wince. This little bacterial beast is famous for causing painful, pus-filled sores in the genital area. And if that's not bad enough, it also attacks your lymph nodes, making them swell to the size of golf balls, sometimes even...
Ooh. Ah, also burst open. Also burst open. Interesting. Also interesting. Okay. Fun fact, there actually is green and purple cheese. Okay.
bursting like an overripe pimple. Yeah, bursting! Still think your ex was the worst thing to happen to you? Think again. And this guy doesn't do the subtle game at all. Once infected, the symptoms usually show up within 4 to 10 days like an unwanted pop-up ad that refuses to close. First, you'll get little painful ulcers that look like canker sores, and they'll be raw, open wounds that ooze pus and bleed. But unlike syphilis sores, which are firm, cancroid ulcers are soft, mushy, and nasty, like an overripe banana you've forgotten your bag.
Oh, oh. I did see a clip though of somebody, like, realizing that it was getting really, really smelly in their room. So they checked. And what they found was there was a rotting cucumber between, like, their desk and, their bed. Yeah. I don't know what they did, why there's a cucumber in their room. I don't know why it is rotting. I don't know how it got there. I probably know how it got there. So, interesting. Very interesting.
For a week. Oh, and it'll hurt to pee or walk. That's an added bonus. The scariest part about cancroid is that the open sores would literally be a VIP entrance for any viruses. So if you get exposed to HIV while having cancroid, you're way more likely to catch it. And it spreads like wildfire, as one sore can multiply into a whole colony. So if left untreated, your junk could start looking like a crime scene. But even after you treat it, cancroid doesn't always leave quietly, and would leave behind pretty nasty scars that stick around forever. Plus, if you wait too long, antibiotics might not even be able to help you anymore, but you'll require surgical drainage of those swollen, pus-filled lymph nodes. Yes, surgical drainage. Which means a doctor cuts open the infected lump in your groin to squeeze out all the pus.
Ooh. Poke the cucumber walk to their room. Yeah, definitely wasn't used for other things.
Yeah. Ew. Brucellosis. After spending
Milk and cheese! Was that butter?
entire summer at this weird farm retreat you found online that promised to get you connected to animals and nature, you finally come back home feeling more relaxed. But apparently you've also brought back a nasty gift called brucellosis, one of the weirdest, most feral corners of the infectious disease world. Initially, this disease only infects cows, goats, and pigs, but for some inexplicable reason, it decided that wasn't enough, so they set their sights on humans too.
But how? It's an STD! How would that even... Oh no. Oh no! There's two chances, right? You got it transmitted through skin, or you got it transmitted through other methods.
Now, the messed up part is that you don't even need to get freaky with a goat to catch it, and for legal and moral reasons, you absolutely should not. The bacteria can be easily transmitted through unpasteurized dairy products, direct contact with infected animals, and then finally the creme de la...
Okay, now we know. There was no clapping of goats. Even though that occasionally happens in some countries, there were no there were potentially no goats harmed. Poke, the easy explanation here is someone could not keep in their pants and clap animal cheeks. That is the easy explanation. I hope that that's not the case there. Or pigs, or cows, or horses.
creme through sex with an infected person. That's right, you could be getting down and dirty with someone only to walk away with a bacteria that came from a goat's bloodstream. The scariest part is that brucellosis symptoms can last months or even years, like a miserable horror movie that never seems to end. You'll first get the fever, then joint pain, chronic fatigue, and then brain fog so thick you might accidentally microwave your phone instead of your food. And here's the kicker. Brucellosis can mess with your reproductive organs.
So the reproductive organs also get, yeeted. Interesting.
For men, that means swollen testicles, and for women, it can increase the risk of miscarriage. Yeah, no thanks. Shigella flexneri. After experiencing—
Why does this— that could be a girl's name! Yo, Shigella, would you stand up? Why does that sound like a girl's name? That is interesting.
one of the best nights of your life, you wake up the next morning feeling like $1,000,000 until your stomach makes a noise that sounds like a dying T-Rex. Suddenly you're sweating, cramping, and sprinting to the bathroom like you're in the Diarrhea Olympics. Apparently you might have just met the nastiest party crasher of all time, Shigella flexneri, aka sexually transmitted dysentery. Yeah, you heard that right. There's an STI out there that doesn't just ruin your love life, but turns your entire digestive system into a crime scene.
So it's just sexually transmittable diarrhea. STD.
Technically, Shigella flexneri is a bacterium that normally causes foodborne illness. But when it decides to go the route, it'll spread through direct sexual contact, particularly oral anal contact, aka rimming, or literally any situation where fecal bacteria get too friendly.
That is crazy. That is wild. That is just wild. I guess don't lick somebody's, you know, crazy.
Friendly with a partner. Well, once this microscopic menace enters your system, it goes full-on villain mode by hijacking your intestines and causing explosive diarrhea, which is as bad as it sounds. Then, severe stomach cramps, fever, and chills, because nothing says romance like uncontrollable shivering on the toilet. Then, bloody stool. Oh, and unlike—
Oh!
X, Shigella flexneri is extremely clingy. It can stick around in your system for weeks, spreading to unsuspecting victims even after your symptoms fade. So if you think you're safe just because you're feeling better, think again. The worst part is, it only takes a microscopic amount of bacteria. We're talking literally 1 or 2 cells to infect someone. That's like getting sick from a single grain of pepper. It can be antibiotic resistant, meaning treatment can be tough, and in rare cases, it can trigger reactive arthritis, a painful joint condition that's like Shigella's way of saying, even though I'm gone, you'll never forget me. In short, it's not just an upset stomach, it's a full-blown bacterial coup d'etat inside your gut.
Thank you. That was man-made horrors beyond my comprehension. If I ever get the chance to have a wife, which I won't have, but if I do, I will test her on all of these. I'm now traumatized for life. Thank you.